It is Purple Day. Morning, welcome back to Breakfast Television. It's Purple Day for epilepsy awareness, and Racheal-Lea Rickards, who is with Director of Education and Outreach, Epilepsy Toronto here, and Michael Kennedy, who is living with epilepsy, joining me right now to discuss this. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I am well. So tell me about epilepsy. For those of us who I don't have it. I don't know anybody who is living with it.
Yes.
It really is still a mystery to me. What is epilepsy?
Fact of the matter is, Kevin, you probably do know somebody who's living with epilepsy, but they're not going to say much about it because there's such a huge stigmatism when it comes to epilepsy. 1 in 100 people have epilepsy.
That many?
Yeah, 30,000 people in our city.
That's right, I must know
epilepsy.
somebody.
Absolutely. And the work that we do at Epilepsy Toronto is to spread awareness so that there are people like Michael who will tell their stories and come forward because it gives a voice, and that's what we're about. So epilepsy is a neurological disorder. I want you to think about it as a huge thunderstorm in the brain, and it's either a huge thunderstorm will make one type of a seizure. It's called a generalized seizure or a tonic-clonic. It used to be called a grand mal. Or it's a storm where it's just in Brampton but not in Rexdale. And so it's just one part of the brain, and that will create a different type of seizure. So a lot of people know the convulsive seizures. We see it on TV, we see it in film. But what a lot of people don't know is there are non-convulsive seizures. So a lot of times somebody is having a seizure, looks dazed, and it's mistaken for maybe they're drunk, maybe they're on drugs, and really they're having a seizure. Yeah. All
right. So Michael.
Yes.
Tell me about your case.
Yeah. So I had my first seizure when I was 12 years old, and it was.
At that point, did you know you had epilepsy?
No, I had no idea. And so it was kind of a blessing in disguise in a way because it led to the discovery of a brain tumor that was it was removed, and for a couple of years I lived seizure-free. It was fine, and then the seizure started to come back. Because scar tissue had formed in the area where the tumor was removed, for about 10 years following that, I was fairly well controlled on anticonvulsant medications, and then you know I was in at the time I was in London, Ontario, at graduate school. And I was seeing a neurologist, and my seizures really started to kind of kick up, and they started happening again, and they increased in frequency and severity. So they were longer. I was having them in the evenings while I was sleeping, and then the neurologist recommended epilepsy surgery. So that was when I started to kind of explore my options and see what other kind of medical interventions were available.
And so this is actually you after surgery?
Yes, that's me. Actually, that is. So there were 2 surgeries. Okay. That is me being wheeled into the second surgery. So the first surgery, you just saw in the last photo where they had wires coming down. The first surgery, they did what's called a craniotomy. And they open the skull and they put in electrodes all over the place. Wow. to monitor brain waves and to record seizures. So Racheal mentioned that sometimes a seizure can happen in Brampton, but not in Rexdale. So essentially, sometimes a seizure starts in one area of the brain, and it doesn't start in the other area of the brain. But with this monitoring, we can tell exactly where the seizures are starting each and every time. And that's how you're assessed whether or not you're a candidate for the surgery.
Okay, I want you to go to epilepsytoronto.org to learn more.
Yes, absolutely.
I want you to thank people for wearing purple today. I want you to go to Sick Kids Hospital this morning. You're setting up a booth there in the lobby.
We are, yeah, all over the city. We have youth and adult services all over the city today, but we are at Sick Kids.
The other thing I want you to do is go to Twitter right now. If you have epilepsy, would you please use the hashtag #IHaveEpilepsy? Because honestly, I'm surprised how many people do it. So you know what? Shout it out, say it, tell people that it's prevalent. So I want to know, do you have epilepsy? If you do, let you and all your followers know, because we need to talk about that. Thank you very much for being in.
You're very welcome.
We'll be back with more Breakfast Television.